The numbers are right. Everything reconciled. Nothing is missing. There's more data than ever, and less room to think. So, what do we actually do next? That's the moment you realize the math was almost helpful.
Hey, it's Cashflow Mike, and welcome back to another episode of The Clear Path to Cash. Now, we're getting towards March, April, that type of stuff. And if you're an advisor right now, you're probably not asking for a vacation, but you are asking for one thing. You're asking for tax season to come to an end, and not because you hate the work, and not because you can't handle the hours. It's because you're just tired of carrying the unfinished thinking, right? So let me say that a little bit more clearly. This isn't about burnout or backlog. Well, it is. It's a mental backlog. It's a decision backlog. You know, it's the weight of too many client situations with no place to put the responsibility. So most people think advisors can count down to the end of the tax season, or they do count down to the end of the tax season because they're overworked. Well, you know what? That's not it. The workload is heavy for sure, but the relief you feel when the tax season ends, it isn't because you stopped working. It's because the decision debt stopped growing, right? There's no more new emergencies. There's no more quick questions. There's no more client panic and tax surprises. And we need to talk. It's when the flood slows down, right? And your brain can finally breathe. So here's what tax season does. It's going to force you how to think deeply. Well, not only think deeply, you got to do it at a high speed without any closure. You know, you got to be thinking about all these problems, cash flow problems, tax liabilities, inventory, owner distributions, future planning, all these things all at once. And then when your meeting's done about taxes and you don't get to finish the thought, you just move on, right? That's just what happens. You don't get to tell them what to do next. You don't get to tell them how to take care of some of the problems that you saw while you had their financials sitting in front of you. That's why people get tired. It's a mental drain. It's a stress. It's a heavy weight, because there's nowhere to put that thinking. So advisors don't just do numbers, right? You absorb pressure. It's pressure from everywhere, the client and the bank, and it's pressure from the IRS. It's pressure from your spouse, right? Payroll, everything, it just compounds. And you're expected to sound calm. You're expected to sound confident, clear, even when you're carrying 10 unresolved decisions. That's what drains you. That's what would drain me. It's not the math. I can do math. It's the responsibility. So most advisors think that the end of the tax season will feel like freedom. Well, and sometimes it is. Sometimes they'll take 2 or 3 weeks off. But what really happens when the tax season ends and the fatigue kind of lingers? It's because the unresolved decisions don't disappear. They're still there. They just stop multiplying. And so finally, you get to look at the pile you've been carrying and you get to realize how heavy it got. People still need you. And this is important because you're not lazy. You're just overloaded. And you don't really need motivation. I think you need it, but you got to have structure, and you don't need more information. You just got to have a way to organize and prioritize and take action. You need a way to know. What do you got to know? What matters first? What matters second? What can we put off till later? It's a priority. What doesn't even matter right now? That's the difference between exhaustion and confidence, knowing what to do next. And here's an uncomfortable truth. Rest helps. But rest doesn't fix it. It just helps. You feel better because next tax season is going to show the same pattern again and again. You got new clients this time with different emergencies and different questions. It's the same stress. It's because it's a real issue. And if you don't have a season, tax season will always feel like survival. Now, that sounds weird because it says season twice. What I meant to say was, if you don't have a system, tax season will feel like survival. and that's why May matters, right? May is going to matter for you because May is not about training. It's not. May is a reset. May is where we build a system that holds the thinking for you, right? You don't have to carry every client in your head. You don't have to walk into meetings hoping you'll remember what matters. You don't have to feel like you're the only one that always answers the question, right? You don't have to feel like this again next year. May matters. And we just put out the details on how to get involved with the app Bootcamp, where we teach you the fixed framework, find the burning issue, identify with the fuel source, and execute at the flashpoint. That is a repeatable, scalable system that's going to keep you organized today, tomorrow, and every year after with every new client. So if you're counting down to the end of tax season, you're not weak, you're not behind, you're not failing, you're just carrying a load that most people never see. And it's not just a workload, it's weight, right? It's weight that just never ends. And sometimes that weight comes with an uncomfortable silence because the decision flow never stops growing. The decision debt never stops growing. It's an awkward pause. It's an awkward feeling you have in your stomach. That moment, we know it. And Clear Path to Cash was built for that moment.
The numbers are right. Everything reconciled. Nothing is missing. There's more data than ever, and less room to think. So, what do we actually do next? That's the moment you realize the math was almost helpful.